Good morning Malacanang Press Corps. Welcome sa Kalayaan Briefing sa Mindanao Hour. Kasama po natin si Communications Assistant Secretary Marie Banaag. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Rocky. Good morning, Spokesperson Padilla. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat and welcome to the Mindanao Hour. Insofar as the situation in Marawi, as of 6 p.m. of June 27, 2017, civilians killed by terrorists are at 27, and I'd like to make a correction. The typographical error which was reported yesterday, na instead of 1,701, ang naibigay po kahapon is 1,801. But as of today, civilians rescued is at 1,711 and terrorists killed is 299. Recovered firearms is 358 and government casualties or government troops killed in action at 71. Next slide, please. We wish to reiterate that government's policy not to negotiate with terrorists remains. Hence, any demands made inside Marawi holds no basis. Let us continue to remind the public that the gravity of their terrorists' offense is immense and they must all be held accountable for all their actions. Next slide, please. As of 6 p.m. yesterday, these are the significant developments. Offensive operations resumed, and our troops continued sectoral clearing, ongoing clearing. Next, please. And still, as of 6 p.m. of yesterday, these are the focus of Marawi military operations. Number one, continuous clearing of Marawi of remaining armed terrorists that continue to pose pockets of resistance to the advancing troops. Continue rescue of trapped residents to include those held hostages. And continue recovery of civilian casualties and victims. Assist the LGUs, civil society organizations, non-government organizations on relief operations. And fifth, prepare to assist government or LGUs for the rehabilitation, reconstruction, rebuilding phase as soon as the rebellion is quelled. The GTG Ranao was formed to focus on this. General Eduardo Año, the Chief of Staff of the AFP, reiterates that the AFP is prepared to embark on other key tasks, such as rehabilitation and reconstruction of Marawi, and has ordered the identified engineering units to be ready for the next phase of helping build back Marawi. As such, the AFP has prepared the combat engineering brigades from the Army and the Navy for immediate deployment as soon as the clearing operations are completed. The Joint Task Force Ranao will lead efforts in this phase. The AFP remains committed to the decisive resolution of this rebellion to ensure that the Maute Daesh/ISIS terrorist rebels and their supporters will not be able to pose a threat in any part of the Philippines. The support and active participation of LGUs and the citizens will play a key role in ensuring that terrorism shall not thrive in this part of Asia. Thank you so much.
General Restituto Padilla.
Just to reiterate the same points that we have outlined earlier regarding the no negotiation policy. We are strictly adhering to this, and whatever discussions there may have been inside are not sanctioned as of now. The efforts that were done last Sunday were primarily aimed at ensuring that the humanitarian pause would lead to more civilians rescued from inside Marawi among those who are still trapped. So yun po yung pakay ng pagkakaroon ng binigay na puwang sa putukan noong linggo sa lugar na yan. Bukod sa ating pakikiisa sa ating mga kapatid na Muslim sa kanilang paggunita ng katapusan ng Ramadan, ng Eid, ito po ay pagbibigay daan din sa ating Peace Corridor volunteers na sikaping makarescue pa ng mga karagdagang sibilyan na naiiwan sa loob. At mainam naman po na yung ating puwang na ibinigay na yon ay naging matagumpay dahil may 6 na buhay pa po tayong nasagip. This included a male senior citizen earlier in the day and 5 others later on in the afternoon. The 5 consisted of 2 males and 2 females and a child. And the recovery of 1 cadaver, I believe it is the cadaver of an imam who was killed by the enemy. So this and all comprise one of the significant accomplishments last Sunday in observance of the 8 hours, which was extended to 10 hours up to 4 o'clock for the humanitarian pause. So we are ready to take your questions if you have any.
Benji Liwanag, DCBB.
Sir, once and for all, maraming speculations, maraming reports na lumalabas on Isnilon Hapilon.
Oh yeah, okay.
What's the real score? Kasi kahapon, yesterday, sabi ni Presidential Spokesman Ernesto Abella, you're still verifying the report na nakawala na siya sa area ng Marawi. Is this true, General?
Tama po ang ibinigay na pahayag sa inyo ng ating Presidential Spokesman. At langis lang po naming linawin na hindi po kami maaring magbigay ng isang categorical statement hanggat hindi po kami nakakakuha ng maliwanag na katibayan. And I'd like to take you back a few days ago when there was persistent questions coming from the media about persistent news coming out from Marawi that the brothers Omar and Abdullah and what have you died. And later on, this got confirmed that they actually didn't. So this is the kind of situation we face. That's why we have to be very careful. Kaya doon kami nag-iingat. Kaya kung tayo'y maniniwala sa mga bali-balita at ismis lang na nanggagaling sa loob, hindi po maganda yon. Baka makuryente po tayo tulad ng inyong paglalahad ng balita. Kaya iniingatan po natin. Kaya in the case of Hapilon, in answer to your question, Benji, madami na po kaming nakukuhang balita na sinasabing siya ay umalis na sa lugar at nakatakas na at iba pa. So hanggat hindi po kami nakakuha ng katibayan, atin pong sisikapin na kunin itong mga patibay na ito. Pero kung sakasakali pong totoo ito na siya po ay wala na dyan, ito po ay nagpapatibay na naduwag na siya. It was an act of cowardice if he abandoned his fellow terrorist from inside. And showing that he fled from the battle and left many more of his companions inside would not sit well and may be indicative of an infighting that is occurring among them.
Sir, next is, sabi ninyo si Omar and Abdullah buhay dun sa information na nakuha ninyo. Ito ba yung...
Ang kaso kay Abdullah at kay Omar ay kung ating pagbabasihan yung sinabi ng kanilang mga nakausap daw noong linggo, sila daw ang kinausap at sila daw ay buhay. So kung paniniwalaan po natin yan, yun po yung pruweba na nagpapatunay na hindi natin pwedeng sabihin sila ay patay. Pero tahimik po sila nang sila'y tanungin tungkol dun sa isa nilang kapatid.
Paano nyo i-reconcile na hindi nyo na pinaniniwalaan or walang kinalaman yung government dun sa pakipag-usap ng sino man emisaryo para sa mote? Tapos ngayon, it seems na pinaniniwalaan yung nakausap nila si Omar and Abdullah. How would you reconcile that, General?
Ito pong naging pagpasok ng mga religious leaders dun sa loob. Ang primary po na pakay nila ay kung maaari, i-negotiate pa nila yung pag-rescue sa marami pang naiipit na sibilyan sa loob. Yun po ang main na kanilang pinunta doon, na makatulong sa naiipit pang mga kababayan natin sa loob ng Marawi at maaaring iba pa na nasa loob upang mailika sila. Pero hindi namin batid kung ano man ang ano pang ibang usapan. So, they were actually in fulfillment of the purpose of the peace corridor. If that was their aim, and if that was the topic by which they were discussing with the enemy, that's well and fine. Because every life saved from inside Marawi, particularly of civilians or innocent civilians who are still trapped there, is relevant. But anything other than that, it is not sanctioned.
Thank you very much.
Okay, allow me to ask this question, Brigadier General Padilla. In case daw totoong nakatakas si Isnilon Hapilon, yung fear na baka makagawa na naman o makapag-mount na naman ng another Marawi.
Unang-una po, inuulit ko, yung pag-alis niya po sa lugar na yon ay senyales ng cowardice or pagiging duwag. Kasi pagka may bakbakan po, ang pinakamahirap na at pinakamasakit na mangyari ay iiwanan ka ng isang kinikilala mong leader. At hindi po ginagawa yan. Tulad ng nangyayari sa isang barko, alam niyo naman po yung kwento, na ang kapitan ang huling umaalis pag mayroong lumulubog na barko upang siguraduhin na ang bawat nakalulan sa barko na yon ay ganap na naligtas. Ganon din po sa mga pagkakataong ito. Now, ang kapasidad niya na maglunsad ng anumang klaseng panggugulo, hindi po kami naniniwala na kaya pa niya. Malaki na po ang nangyari ng mga tumagal na mga nakaraang linggong ito at yung kapasidad na magsagawa ng kaguluhan sa scale na nakita natin sa Marawi, hindi na po nila kakayanin yan.
Pero
At-
sir, sorry. Paano nyo daw po i-reconcile yung ganun statement nyo since ang sabi, hindi na uubos ang mga bala ng mga kalaban?
Unang-una po, yung nakita niyo pong video ng mga nakaraang linggo ay nagbibigay patunay sa matagal ng pagpaplano dito. At isa pa, sa matagal na pagpaplano na yan, napaghandaan po sila nila ito na nakapag-imbak sila ng angkop na bilang ng kagamitan, ng armas, at ng bala. Alam naman po natin na sa tinagal na po, dekada na po ang tinagal ng labanan dyan sa Mindanao. At sa tagal ng mga labanan po na nangyari sa Mindanao, hindi po nalalayo na karamihan po ng kanilang hawak na mga armas at bala ay naipon na sa matagal na panahon na yan at maaaring nadala na nila dito sa loob ng Marawi. Dahil nga ang binabalak nila ay complete control ng Marawi pagka nakuha nila ito upang ma-establish nila yung tinatawag nilang wilayat bilang parte ng caliphate ng Daesh.
Okay, question? Raymond Tinasa, Bombo Radio.
Sir, just a quick follow-up dun sa kay Isnilon Hapilon. Sir, the government is claiming that Hapilon is said to be the anointed emir ng ISIS sa Asia region. So, how relevant na siya ay makuha whether dead or alive, considering na he's the parang symbol or the icon of ISIS dito sa Asia region?
It is important that he be caught dead or alive. And it is to the interest of our country kasi matagal na po siyang wanted. Wanted siya ng ibang bansa na binigyan pa ng pabuya yung kanyang pagka-aresto o pagkapatay. Nasa $5 million kung hindi ako nagkakamali. Nagbigay din po ng pabuya ang ating gobyerno at binigay po ito dinagdagan pa ito ng ating mahal na Pangulo ng 10 milyon. Again, dead or alive. Yan ay nagbibigay patibay na ang pagkahuli sa kanya o pagkamatay sa kanya ay napaka-importante.
But sir, based on your, as we speak, yung latest info and even from the civilians rescued from their accounts, you still assume that Isnilon Hapilon is still in Marawi?
Sa aming panig, or on our part, it is safer to assume that the enemies we're looking for are still there. So that is where we are working at, and that is where our focus is. Until such time that we have sufficient proof to say otherwise.
Last, sir, just to clarify, so those civilians recently rescued from the conflict area were actually rescued and not through negotiated release from the ISIS?
No, majority of them, I would say more than 90% or 99% even, were rescued because we have this loudspeaker operation that is ongoing continuously in the city of Marawi. And many of you who have been there are aware of this. Meron po tayong ginagamit ng mga loudspeaker dyan na nakatutok sa loob kung saan inaanunsyo natin ang mga maaaring gawin ng ating mga kapatid na sibilyan upang makaalis at makatakas sa lugar. At ito'y kabilang sa mga senyales na ibinabahagi natin para ganap na matukoy natin kung saan sila at malaman natin na sila pala ay talagang inosenteng sibilyan. So maaaring gawin ito ng kalaban, pero mas mainam na naibabahagi natin ito, na mas maging maingat tayo para nang sa ganun, wala pong na mamatay na civilian unnecessarily. So patuloy natin gagawin ito. At yun po ang ating pinagtutuunan ng pansin dahil importante ang bawat buhay na naiiwan po sa loob.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
Sir, I just wanted to clarify yung statement lang po ni Lieutenant Colonel Herrera, I believe yesterday, about female hostages daw po, sir, being forced into marriage and sex slavery, yung mga nasa war zone pa. Verified po ba, sir, yung information? I mean, saan din po galing and paano po natin nalaman na may ganun?
Tungkol dun sa balita na yan, na may mga bihag na kababaihan sa loob na nagiginang sex slaves, ito po ay impormasyon na ibinahagi ng mga nakalikas sa loob ng Marawi. So maaaring dati po silang mga naging hostages na nakatakas dahil nung patuloy na pagbobomba ng mga nakaraang linggo. At sila po naglalahad ng mga balitang ito at hindi po natin iniimbento.
Okay.
Another question. I just wanted to get your actual yung claim lang po ng BIFF that Mountain BIFF are one and the same and that they have pledged allegiance to ISIS daw po.
The BIFF, I think, is, it's proven that they have been issuing contradictory statements. At one point, their spokesman is saying that they're not related to the Maoists. At another point, they're saying that they are related to the Maoists and they have done this and done that. So, I guess the credibility of their statements is already questionable based on those changing alliances. But the fact is, yes, there are members of the BIFF who have joined up with the Maoists inside Marawi. And yes, they continue to pose threats to the areas of Cotabato because of the continuing harassments that they are doing on our detachments and on the people of Cotabato.
But we still treat them as two separate groups pa rin at this point.
Yes, we do, because the geographical location of the bulk of the BIFF is not in the area of Marawi. And Marawi is another front that we are facing right now, different from that of the Cotabato area.
Okay, Maricela Lili, TV5.
Hi, sir. There are some reports that a number of civilians were beheaded by the terrorists. Is there a truth to that, sir?
Yes. In the earlier days of the fighting, there was sufficient proof to believe that there were executions conducted from inside Marawi regarding a number of Christians that were caught. And these were not beheadings. These were executions. So they were killed by being shot at the back, not in front, at the back, while they were kneeling. And these were part of the materials that came out. So whatever the objective of the terrorists from inside, either to scare people or to communicate across to the other members of the country of their extreme and radical ways, has been achieved because of that. But we continue to get validation of this information as well from people also who come from inside Marawi who have escaped.
How many civilians, sir, are still trapped?
We are not certain on exactly how many civilians because the number you have right now, which is 27, may increase significantly once we are able to validate all this information because there have been a significant number that have been seen in the video. But again, we could not include many of these because we have not validated or authenticated many of this information yet. Until such time, we will remain with those numbers.
I mean, sir, the civilians that were killed may
The civilians that were killed because of atrocities committed by the terrorists inside Marawi.
But the civilians that are still trapped inside, do we have figures?
We rely on the local government because they know their constituents better than we do. And according to their figures, the last time they gave it to us, they said it was still at about 500 or less.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, last
You're
two
welcome.
questions. Laila, Pia, and Jam.
Good morning, General
Morning.
Padilla. Sir, clarification lang. Since we're not negotiating with the terrorists, what are we doing to secure the rescue of the hostages? Kasi before you said there will be back channel talks. So how are we
We
now
still
proceeding?
continue to rely on that kind of avenue to allow for safe passages for whoever is still inside or trapped. We are treating these two things differently. Iba yung naiipit sa loob ng mga residente at yung kanilang pinaghahawakang mga hostages. So, dalawa pong bagay yan. So, ang ating pong pinagtutuunan ng pansin is makuha muna natin yung mas madaming mga naiiwan pa na natrap sa loob ng mga residente kasi significant pa yung bilang nila. So, yun ang ating pinagtutuunan ng pansin. As to the hostages, we're not negotiating at this point. And we know, because we know the mindset of these people. We know how they think. So regardless of negotiations or not, they may end up killing them anyway. So our assumption is to just pursue our operations in the best way we can, rescue the remaining trapped residents, and maximize the opportunities, not only by our offensive, but also the opportunities provided by the peace corridors, and at the same time, effect a rescue of the hostages if at all possible.
So other than operations and possible rescue, no talks related to the hostages?
It's a compliance to the policy of government that we do not negotiate with terrorists. So we will comply with that to the letter.
Thank you.
Okay, last three questions. Pia, Jam, and Glenn.
This is for Asik Banaag. It's not related to Marawi. Ma'am, there was a report from, there were reports that the Chinese government last June 23 launched a probe on Huang Rulun, the billionaire who donated a drug rehab to our country. And the probe is for corruption allegations. We just want to ask the palace for what the palace thinks. How does the palace think this probe will affect our relations with China?
Yes, Pia, thank you for that. We would be answering the questions later since we're in Mindanao hour, so we'd be giving the questions out later on.
Okay, thank you, Pia. Jam?
General Padilla, sir, can we get a clarification on the president's statement yesterday that some of his cousins were killed in the Marawi clashes? May we just know more details, like for example, were they killed by government troops or as a result of infighting between the Maute? And the president also mentioned that he talked to them. So may we know the circumstances? How was he able to talk to them, to his cousins?
Honestly, I have not had the opportunity to cross-check from how and where the president may have said that. Be that as it may be possible because these are relatives of the president, that relatives also have been acting as emissaries between them. He did mention a long time ago that there are some members of his family that could have been swayed to have joined the terrorists. And he may have been alluding to these individuals in mentioning that. So we will need to verify that further anyway, and it may be better to ask clarification from Secretary Abella, who may have a direct hand and may have a direct access to the President on the matter.
Sir, last. Sir, tingin niyo po, gaano katagal pa kaya yung itatagal ng clashes? Possible ba na matapos ito bago po yung SONA ng Pangulo?
Sinisikap nating tapusin ito sa pinakamadaling panahon kasi yun nga, hindi maganda na nagtatagal yung mga ganitong labanan. Unang-una, naiinip na po ang ating mga kapatid na Maranao na nariyan po sa mga evacuation centers. Ninanais din nila na magbalik sa normal ang kanilang buhay. Kanya't ang ating pagtuon ng pansin ay bilisan talaga itong pag-clear. Pero maselan kasi ang environment, ang combat environment natin. Mahirap. At ang kahirapan dyan ay una, dahil sa presensya ng mga naiipit pa nating mga sibilyang kapatid na nasa loob na maaring maipit sa bakbakan. So dapat pangalagaan natin yan. Pangalawa, may pinangahawakan pa rin silang mga hostages. Pangatlo, sa dami po ng nare-recover nating mga pasabog at mga patibong na nandyan sa mga buildings, kinakailangan po talagang dahan-dahan kiniklear ang mga buildings. Isang halimbawa na may bibigay ko sa inyo na inilahad sa atin ng Commandant ng Philippine Marines. May report po sa kanya nung isang linggo na meron po silang mga unit na nakapasok sa isang building, nakita ang mga presensya ng mga bombang ito, at ng kanilang pasabugin ito, sa gulat nila, parang Judas Belt ito na magkakasunod na nagsiputukan at mahigit sa 10 ang mga pasabog na kanilang narinig hanggang sa mga kabilang panig ng kalye. So, ganun ka-sophisticated yung kanilang nilalagay na traps, no? At mga patibong. Kaya ayaw nating mailagay sa alanganin ang ating mga sundalo, kaya maingat tayo na nagsasagawa nito. Isa pa, kung inyong sinusundan ang mga kaganapan sa gitnang silangan, itong gyera sa Mosul hanggang sa ngayon patuloy pa rin. Ang batid natin dito, 1 square kilometer or less na lang yata ang natitira, pero hanggang sa ngayon di pa natatapos. Mahigit 8 buwan na yan. Nagsimula yan noong Oktubre ng 2016. Ganon din dun sa Raqqa campaign sa Syria, na kung saan nagsimula ito ng 6 ng Nobyembre. Pareho rin po, built-up area, city, ganon din po ang klase ng labanan. Madaming snipers, madaming pasabog. Mahigit 7 buwan na ito na patuloy na nangyayari. Ganon din po sa ibang lugar, tulad ng sa Sirte, nung nag-aaway ang Libya at ang mga Daesh. Pareho rin po, syudad, built up, door-to-door din ang labanan, mga snipers din ang naroroon. Umabot po ito ng 6 na buwan mahigit. At ganon din po doon sa mga iba pa, Ramandi, Fallujah, noong mga nakaraang mga matagal ng panahon. Ito po yung mga syudad, tulad ng nangyayari ngayon sa Marawi. Kaya yung komplikasyon na yan, kung may mas malalaking mga armed forces pa na tulad ng mga nakipagbakbakan dyan sa Middle East ay medyo naging challenging sa kanila, mas lalo na po sa atin. Kaya ang hinihingi po natin dito is kailangan maunawaan ng ating mga kababayan ang hinaharap ng sundalo na kahirapan ng battlefield environment. Challenging po talaga ito at sinisikap natin na matapos ito sa madaling panahon. Pero hindi po ganun kabilis. At sa mga nagnanais na maintindihan ito, ang aming pong pakiusap, mas maganda kung mag-volunteer kayo na samahan kami. Maging sundalo kayo, mag-ROTC kayo. Nang sa ganun, pag nagkaroon ng mga ganitong bakbakan, ma-experience nyo rin ang hirap at maunawaan nyo. At lalabas din ang inyong pagiging nationalistic at patriotic.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, last question, Glenn.
General Padilla, sir, balikan ko lang po yung kay Isnilon Hapilon. Nabanggit niyo po kanina na meron po kayong marami na nagtatanggap na ulat hinggil po sa pagtakas niya from Marawi. Ano po yung, sir, yung mga lumabas na angle mula po dun sa mga natanggap niyo report, paano ho siya nakalabas ng Marawi?
Ang karamihan ng impormasyon na natanggap namin hindi naman nag-provide ng details. May nagsabing nakadaan sa ganitong paraan, sa ganong daan. Pero dahil nga wala kaming patibay at alam namin na ginagawa namin ang aming makakaya para mabantayan lahat ng lagusan, hindi muna namin pinaniwalaan hanggat walang patibay. So, maaari rin disinformasyon ito para ma-distract ang ating tropa sa paghahanap. Mga naiban po sa Marawi, siya yung pinakamataas ang presyo ang ulo. Biro nyo, may 5 million siya na galing sa isang bansa, may 10 million pesos siya galing sa ating sariling gobyerno at may karagdagan pa yan dun sa existing na mga awards, na rewards na inilagay sa ulo niya. So yung perang niya ay napakalaki at maaring nararamdaman niya ang init ng maaring gustong i-surrender siya sa mga otoridad para makakolekta ng ganito kalaking halaga. Kasi mismo ang mahal na Pangulo nagsabi na no questions asked. Basta madala mo sa amin, mabigay mo kung nasaan si Hapilon at makuha ito, bayad ka kagad. Tulad na nangyari po sa Bohol.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Assistant Secretary Ana Marie Banaag. Thank you, Brigadier General Restituto Padilla. Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Ang Mindanao Hour, next po, Friday sa Davao City. Back to our main studio sa Radyo ng Bayan, NPTV.